Have you ever wondered what will happen when you grow old? Will your children care for you as you've cared for them, or will you be left to face the harsh realities of aging alone? These are questions we all think about, especially as we age. In today's fast-paced, material-driven world, the family bonds that once seemed unbreakable can sometimes feel fragile and uncertain. You may have spent your whole life working hard, sacrificing for your children and giving them the best foundation, only to wonder, will they be there for you when you need them most? This story is not just about the struggles of aging. It's about preparing for a future where you are the one in control. It's about learning to live independently and ensuring that your golden years are not a burden, but a time of peace and dignity. If you don't want to be caught off guard by the reality of old age, or worse, left alone and helpless, then you need to read this story to the end. Here, we'll share with you the stories of real-life experiences where unconditional sacrifices didn't always result in the love and care that was expected. You'll learn why expecting your children to take care of you in old age might not be the safest option, and how you can take charge of your future. You'll also discover the 4 important lessons that can help you avoid the mistakes that many parents make when it comes to their children and aging. So if you want to avoid regrets, build your path to financial independence, and find peace in your later years, keep reading. This could be the most important step you take towards securing the rest of your life. Health first. Taking care of your body winter is one of the most dangerous times for our health, especially as we age. Medical studies have shown a startling fact. The incidence of stroke dramatically increases in winter, with rates soaring by more than 30% compared to other seasons. But why is this the case? While we often attribute this to the bitterly cold weather, there's more to the story than just the drop in temperature. Many of us unknowingly engage in habits that increase our vulnerability to severe health risks during the winter. The drastic temperature change, the sharp contrast between the cold air and the warmth of our body or the water we bathe in, forces our bodies to react in ways that can be dangerous. Our blood pressure fluctuates wildly, and if we're not careful, this can put immense stress on our cardiovascular system. Incorrect habits, such as using water that is too hot or subjecting our bodies to sudden temperature changes, can cause serious problems. For those with underlying health conditions such as hypertension or heart disease, the risks are even greater. The elderly are particularly at risk as their bodies may not respond as quickly or as effectively to these temperature changes. Sometimes, something as simple as taking a bath in water that's too hot or stepping into a cold bathroom without proper preparation can trigger disastrous consequences, from a stroke to a heart attack. This situation is not something we should take lightly. Once we understand the risks, we can begin to adjust our habits, taking small but important steps to minimize danger. In the following sections, I will share practical tips for how we can ensure our routines remain safe, from choosing the right water temperature to the ideal duration of activities, and what to avoid to protect our health. Important precautions in winter. A guide to protecting your health. Winter, especially during the coldest months, demands more than just routine care. It's about protecting your health, particularly the health of the elderly and those with pre-existing health conditions. Our bodies react to cold temperatures in ways we often don't think about, and one wrong move could lead to grave consequences. Here are several important precautions to take in winter to ensure your safety and well-being. The correct order of bathing. Many people have the habit of washing their hair first as soon as they step into the bathroom, but this can be extremely dangerous in cold weather. If you wash your hair before your body has had a chance to adjust to the temperature, you risk causing a vasospasm, a sudden constriction of your blood vessels. This can lead to dizziness, fainting, or even a stroke. It's especially risky for older individuals whose bodies may not cope with rapid temperature changes. The proper order is to wash your face first, then cleanse your body, and finally wash your hair. This gradual approach helps your body acclimate to the temperature changes, protecting your blood vessels and reducing the risks of cardiovascular and cerebrovascular events. Water temperature. While it may be tempting to turn the water as hot as possible during the chill of winter, It's essential to avoid extremes. The ideal bathwater temperature should be warm, around 38 to 40 degrees C, close to body temperature. Water that is too hot can cause a rapid drop in blood pressure once you exit the bath, leading to dizziness or even fainting. Equally important is ensuring that the room temperature is comfortable. Ideally, it should be around 25 degrees C to avoid shocking your system with a sudden transition from a cold room to a warm, humid environment. Bathing time. The winter months are not the time for long, luxurious baths. Although it may feel indulgent to stay in the warmth of the water, it's crucial to limit your time to no more than 10 to 15 minutes and certainly not longer than 20 minutes. Prolonged exposure to hot water can lead to significant heat loss from your body, causing it to become too cold. This not only compromises your body's natural defenses but can also dry out your skin, leading to cracks and an imbalance in natural moisture levels. Avoid scrubbing too hard. It may feel refreshing to scrub your skin vigorously, but this can have serious consequences, especially in winter. Our skin is the body's first line of defense, and harsh scrubbing removes natural oils that keep it moisturized and protected. When the skin becomes too dry, it becomes more vulnerable to injury and infection, particularly in children and the elderly, who tend to have more sensitive skin. Therefore, it's essential to wash gently and avoid excessive exfoliation. Taking the time to care for your skin properly is just as important as taking care of your heart and blood vessels. When not to bathe, the hidden dangers you must be aware of. Bathing is a vital part of our daily routine, but there are certain moments when taking a bath is not just unadvisable, but can also be dangerously harmful to your health. Too often, we take the act of bathing for granted, forgetting that our bodies are complex systems that need to be treated with care and attention. Bathing in the wrong conditions can lead to a wide range of health issues, from simple fatigue to more serious, life-threatening complications like strokes. The truth is, there are times when a warm shower or bath can do more harm than good. Let's delve into these critical moments when you should avoid bathing and why they matter so much for your well-being. Bathing on an empty stomach, a recipe for danger. We've all been there, rushing out the door exhausted and feeling the hunger pangs creep up, but still deciding to jump in the shower before breakfast or lunch. This seemingly innocent habit can be a serious mistake. When your body is hungry, your blood sugar levels are already low, and your organs are deprived of the necessary energy to function properly. When you bathe in this state, it can quickly lead to weakness, dizziness, or even fainting. The body's energy is stretched thin as it tries to balance both the stress of hunger and the shock of a cold or hot bath. Trust me, it's always worth it to have a light snack before stepping into the bath or shower, or better yet, wait a little while after eating to allow your food to digest. This simple action can make all the difference in preventing a potential health scare. Bathing right after eating, a dangerous distraction for your digestive system. We've all heard that a full stomach leads to a happy heart, but what we often overlook is that it also demands a lot of blood to properly digest the food. After eating, your body needs all the blood it can get in the digestive system to break down and process the food you've consumed. If you bathe immediately afterward, your body faces a dilemma. Should it send blood to the skin to regulate temperature, or should it direct that blood to the stomach for digestion? The outcome is never good. Your digestion becomes compromised, leading to bloating, discomfort, and even indigestion. If this behavior becomes habitual, it could eventually lead to more chronic digestive problems. Don't let your digestive system suffer just because you couldn't wait a little longer. Give your body the time it needs to absorb your meal before indulging in a bath. Bathing after drinking alcohol. A risk you should never take. Imagine the feeling of relaxation after a long day when you decide to unwind with a drink, followed by a comforting bath. It sounds soothing, right? But it's far from safe. Alcohol, while it may provide temporary relief, has a profound effect on your body. It dilates blood vessels and lowers blood pressure. When you bathe right after drinking, your body experiences a sudden temperature change that can trigger a thermal shock as blood rushes to the skin surface to regulate your body's temperature. This disrupts blood flow to the brain and other vital organs, increasing the risk of dizziness, fainting, or, in the worst-case scenario, a heart attack or stroke. The combination of alcohol's relaxing effects and the shock of the bath can overwhelm your system. Please always wait until the alcohol has left your system before you indulge in a bath. It could be the difference between a relaxing experience and a life-threatening emergency. Bathing after exercise, a risky rush to relaxation. You've just finished a good workout. Your body feels exhausted, your muscles are aching, and you're eager to jump in the shower and relax. But here's the thing. Your body is still in recovery mode after exercise. When you take a hot bath immediately after working out, you are essentially sending your already stressed body into overdrive. Exercise causes blood vessels to dilate, and when you bathe right after, it exacerbates this dilation. Blood is redirected to your skin to cool the body, but this means there's less blood flowing to essential organs like the heart and brain. For people with heart conditions or high blood pressure, this can be dangerous. It's important to give your body some time to cool down and recover naturally before hopping into the bath. Trust me, your body will thank you for the extra time to adjust and regain balance. Bathing. When feeling weak or cold. Not the right time to soak when you're feeling unwell. Whether it's from fatigue or a cold, your body's defenses are already compromised. Bathing, especially in cold water, can further lower your body temperature, which in turn worsens your symptoms. If you're feeling weak, taking a bath could further exhaust your body, leaving you more vulnerable to illness. In these times, it's better to wipe yourself down with a warm towel to preserve your energy. Only once your body has regained strength and warmth should you consider stepping into a bath. Your health deserves this care and attention. Bathing after certain therapies, a delicate window of time. After certain treatments such as steam therapy or insulin injections, your body becomes more sensitive and vulnerable. Steam opens up pores and makes the skin more sensitive, while insulin injections can alter your blood sugar levels. Bathing immediately after these therapies could disrupt your body's delicate balance, causing dizziness, fainting, or other complications. For example, after an insulin injection, bathing can cause an accelerated absorption of insulin, leading to dangerously low blood sugar levels. It's vital to wait at least 30 minutes after an insulin injection or any other treatment before stepping into the bath. Giving your body the time it needs to stabilize will help ensure your safety and prevent potential harm. Special precautions for different groups. A heartfelt look at how we stay safe. Every person is unique, and when it comes to our health, there is no one-size-fits-all solution. This holds when it comes to the simple act of bathing. It's not just about cleanliness. It's about ensuring that our habits align with the specific needs of our bodies. For some groups, such as the elderly, children, or individuals with underlying health conditions, there are special precautions we must take to avoid risks and protect their health. Let's explore these considerations in more detail with empathy and a genuine understanding of the challenges these groups face. Elderly individuals, a fragile balance of health and safety. As we age, our bodies undergo significant changes that can impact our daily activities, including bathing. For elderly individuals, their immune systems are often weaker, and their blood vessels lose elasticity over time. This makes them more susceptible to extreme temperature changes and even minor health stresses that can arise from something as routine as a bath. The risks of improper care are real and alarming, ranging from cardiovascular problems to the potentially life-threatening consequences of a stroke. This is why, for our beloved seniors, we must approach daily activities with the utmost care. For the elderly, certain activities should not be a daily routine. It's recommended that they engage in full activities no more than once or twice a week, especially during the cold winter months when their bodies are more vulnerable. Doing too much too often can drain their energy and increase the risk of falling ill. Rather than focusing on doing everything at once, it is much safer to focus on essential areas, taking small steps and conserving energy. Shortening activity. Time to no more than 5 minutes can prevent them from becoming chilled or exhausted, which is a common problem for older individuals. Temperature control is crucial. Ensuring that rooms are warm enough to be comfortable but not so hot that it becomes dangerous is important. And importantly, spaces should be preheated before activities, creating a more consistent and gentle environment that prevents sudden temperature shocks to their system. Children. Tender care for the most delicate. Skin children, with their soft, sensitive skin, are especially vulnerable to harshness. Their skin is thinner, more delicate, and much more prone to drying out than that of adults. If not cared for properly, children may experience irritation, rashes, or even other skin conditions that can cause them discomfort and pain. As parents, or caregivers, we need to adjust our approach to ensure it's not only safe but also nurturing for their delicate bodies. It is recommended that children have full cleansing only 2 to 3 times a week. More frequent intense cleaning can strip away the natural oils that protect their skin, leaving them vulnerable and prone to dryness. Activities should be a soothing experience, not one that leaves them shivering or tired. To ensure this, time should be kept to a maximum of 10 minutes, and temperatures should be below 38 degrees, warm enough to be comfortable but not hot enough to dry out their skin. The environment, too, should be warmed beforehand to create a cozy atmosphere, and as soon as they are done, the child should be gently dried off to lock in moisture and keep their skin soft and nourished. People with underlying health conditions, caution and care at every step. For those living with chronic conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease, daily routines can be a delicate balance of safety and comfort. Sudden temperature changes, long periods of activity, or too much heat can trigger adverse reactions in the body, such as a sudden drop in blood pressure, increased heart rate, or other potentially dangerous health events. For these individuals, care is more than just a routine. It is an act that requires thoughtful consideration and caution to minimize risk. Individuals with health conditions should regulate temperatures and maintain a consistent room temperature to avoid sudden changes that could trigger complications. Activity time should be kept to 5 to 10 minutes to prevent the body from becoming overstressed. It's also important to drink warm water before engaging in strenuous activities to help the body stay hydrated and balanced. Lastly, one should never push themselves immediately after eating, exercising, or consuming alcohol, as these activities can already put stress on the body. It's crucial to approach daily life as part of a well-rounded self-care routine that prioritizes safety and well-being. Understanding. 4 common morning habits that seem harmless but can harm your health. We all have habits that we consider part of our daily routine, but did you know that some of the habits we may not even think twice about could be silently harming our health and shortening our lifespan? These habits may seem harmless on the surface, but the truth is they can have a long-term impact on our physical and mental well-being. Thankfully, changing these habits doesn't require drastic measures. Often, small adjustments can make a world of difference. Listen closely to your body, pay attention to these small habits, and make a conscious decision to change. It's never too late to start your day in a gentler, healthier way. Your body will thank you for it, and so will your future self. 1. Waking up too quickly. A hidden danger. Have you ever experienced the jarring sensation of waking up to the sound of an alarm, your heart racing as you instinctively jump out of bed to face a new day? It's a feeling that many of us are all too familiar with. The rush to start the day, the feeling of urgency, the belief that leaping into the day head first is the best way to kickstart productivity. But what if I told you that waking up too suddenly could be doing more harm than good? What if, in your haste to get moving, you're unknowingly putting your health at serious risk? When we sleep, our bodies enter a deeply relaxed state. This is not just a moment of rest, but a crucial time for physical recovery and rejuvenation. Our heart rate slows down, blood pressure drops, and our breathing becomes calm and steady. It's as if our body is going through a quiet healing process, mending the wear and tear of a long, tiring day. But here's where the danger lies. When we abruptly leap out of bed, we disrupt this delicate process. It's like slamming on the brakes of a car that's already moving at full speed. Everything is thrown into disarray. In that split second, the body is suddenly forced to switch gears. The heart, which was calmly resting during sleep, now has to work overtime, pumping blood to vital organs like the brain and limbs. The pressure on your circulatory system increases, and the body struggles to catch up. For most people, this sudden shock isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. The heart is forced to work harder, and for those with underlying heart conditions, this extra strain could lead to serious complications such as heart attacks or strokes. Even for those without heart issues, the long-term impact of this daily shock on the system can be just as detrimental. Over time, the continuous stress of waking up too quickly can weaken the body's overall resilience, leaving you more vulnerable to illness and exhaustion. What makes this especially worrying is that, when we sleep, our blood pressure is lower than usual. It's a time when the body is in a state of calm recovery. But when we rush into the day too quickly, we suddenly spike our blood pressure, forcing the heart to work at full capacity the moment we wake up. This sudden transition, though seemingly harmless, is like a heavy weight on our cardiovascular system, and it can take a toll over time. This is even more concerning for older adults, whose bodies naturally struggle to adjust as quickly, further elevating the risks. So what can we do to protect ourselves from this hidden danger? The answer is simple: slow down. Take a moment to ease into your day. Rather than forcing your body to jump into action when you open your eyes in the morning, don't rush. Allow yourself a few quiet moments to adjust. Let your body gradually ease out of the peaceful stillness of sleep. Stretch your fingers and toes, take deep, slow breaths, and feel your heart gradually pick up pace. Let your blood circulation resume its natural rhythm. This gentle transition is not only kinder to your body but also helps you feel more alert and at ease, starting the day with a sense of calm instead of stress. Drinking a glass of water after waking up can also be a simple yet effective way to nourish your body after a long night's rest. Hydrating helps kickstart your metabolism and rehydrates your cells, ensuring your body is properly fueled for the day ahead. By making this small change, waking up more gradually, you can avoid unnecessary stress on your body and feel better in the long run. It's a simple yet powerful way to show your body the respect it deserves and start your day in a healthier, gentler way. So next time that alarm rings, resist the urge to jump out of bed in a hurry. Give yourself a moment. Your health will thank you for it. Skipping water in the morning, a mistake, easily overlooked. Have you ever woken up in the morning, groggy and tired, and immediately reached for a cup of coffee thinking that just one sip would help you feel awake and energized? I'll admit I've been guilty of this myself many times. It feels almost like a comforting ritual, holding that warm cup in your hands, feeling the steam rise, and taking that first sip. But let's be honest, that cup of coffee is not the miracle we often think it is. Starting the day with coffee instead of water is a mistake so easily overlooked, yet it can silently affect our health in the long run, especially as we age. You see, after a long night of sleep, our bodies are naturally in a state of dehydration. Think of it like this. While you were resting, your body was hard at work regenerating cells, repairing tissues, and flushing out toxins. All of this requires water, and by morning, most of the water we had is used up. Waking up in this dehydrated state is not ideal, and skipping water in favor of coffee only worsens the situation. Coffee, with its caffeine content, acts as a diuretic, which means it pulls even more water out of your body. It may give you a temporary boost, but that feeling is short-lived and comes at the expense of your body's natural balance. The impact of this dehydration can be far-reaching. Our bodies need water to function properly. It's as essential as oil is to an engine. Without enough water, vital processes like detoxification, digestion, and skin hydration become sluggish and less effective. This is not just about feeling thirsty. It's about making sure our bodies can run smoothly, especially as we get older. With age, our bodies become less efficient at regulating water, which only compounds the problem. I can't help but think of the elderly, whose health is more vulnerable. Dehydration in the morning can lead to much more serious issues, including an increased risk of heart disease and strokes. Studies show that drinking water immediately upon waking up helps dilute the blood, lowering the risk of cardiovascular problems and ensuring the blood can flow more freely. So what's the solution? It's as simple as it sounds. Start your day with a glass of water before anything else. Just one glass is all it takes to rehydrate your body and set the stage for a healthier, more energized day. It's such a small act, but the difference it makes is profound. I find it helpful to keep a glass of water by my bedside before I go to sleep. This way, as soon as I wake up, I can drink it without any delay. It's a routine that doesn't require much effort but brings enormous benefits. And if you want to enhance the flavor and boost your health benefits, try adding a slice of lemon to your water. It's not just refreshing, it also supports detoxification and provides a dose of vitamin C to start your day right. Trust me, if you make this simple habit part of your morning, you'll feel the difference. It's a small change that can give you a renewed sense of energy, improve your digestion, and keep your body functioning more effectively. The next time you wake up, resist the temptation to grab that coffee first. Instead, reach for water. You'll be amazed at how much better you feel. Skipping breakfast, unconsciously starving your body. Many of us have fallen into the habit of rushing through the morning, convinced that we can skip breakfast and make up for it later. Perhaps we think we'll eat something quick later in the day, or that we can survive until lunchtime. However, this seemingly harmless habit can have significant consequences, especially for our bodies, which rely on fuel to function properly. Skipping breakfast, particularly for the elderly, isn't just about missing a meal. It's about depriving our bodies of essential energy and nutrients needed to kickstart the day. After a long night's sleep, our bodies have burned through the energy reserves from the previous evening's meal, and upon waking, our blood sugar is at its lowest point. This is the critical moment when our body desperately needs fuel to reignite its functions. It's like trying to start a car without gas. Nothing will run smoothly. When we skip breakfast, we are essentially setting ourselves up for a day of sluggishness, fatigue, and poor concentration. The energy we would normally get from a healthy breakfast is absent, leaving us feeling weak, drained, and disconnected from our surroundings. This feeling of tiredness isn't just physical, it spills over into our mental state, causing us to feel irritable, moody, and unclear. Over time, the consequences only get worse. Our metabolism, already struggling as we age, slows down even further when we skip breakfast, making it harder to maintain a healthy weight and increasing our risk of developing chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. It's not just about looking good or feeling better, it's about safeguarding our health for the long term. Let's not forget that our brain, like the rest of our body, needs energy too. Studies have shown that people who eat breakfast perform better mentally, with improved focus, memory, and concentration. On the flip side, skipping breakfast puts us at a severe disadvantage. Without enough fuel, our brain struggles to function optimally, leading to poor decision-making, mental fatigue, and decreased productivity. It's so easy to overlook the significance of this, but the truth is, when we skip breakfast, we not only harm our physical body, but we also hinder our mental clarity. And for older adults, the effects are even more pronounced. As metabolism naturally slows with age, skipping breakfast can accelerate muscle loss, brain fog, and memory decline. But there's hope. Starting your day with a healthy breakfast doesn't have to be a complicated or time-consuming task. If you're not used to eating a full breakfast, start small. A simple piece of fruit like an apple, a handful of nuts, or some creamy yogurt can provide a much-needed boost of energy. As you begin to establish the habit, you can gradually incorporate more nutritious foods, such as oats, scrambled eggs, or whole grain bread topped with creamy avocado. The goal is to choose foods that are rich in fiber, protein, and healthy fats which provide long-lasting energy and keep you satisfied throughout the morning. Trust me, the difference is incredible. Taking just a few minutes to prepare a nourishing meal in the morning will not only improve your physical health, but will also sharpen your mind and leave you feeling ready to take on whatever challenges the day has in store. Overdoing exercise. Right after waking up. When effort becomes a burden, overdoing exercise right after waking up is something that many of us are guilty of, especially when we're trying to kickstart our day with enthusiasm and vigor. While morning exercise is undoubtedly a wonderful habit that brings numerous benefits like improved physical health and mental clarity, jumping straight into high-intensity workouts right after we open our eyes can do more harm than good. Particularly, for older adults, it may seem like a great idea to run, lift weights, or jump into an intense aerobic session to rev up your day. But in reality, this sudden surge of effort can overwhelm your body, causing damage instead of benefit. When we wake up, our body is still in a state of rest. Our muscles are stiff. Our blood circulation hasn't fully returned to its usual pace, and our heart rate is still at its lowest. It's as though our body is in the early stages of waking up, slowly easing into the day. But when we throw ourselves into strenuous activities like running or lifting heavy weights too soon, it can feel like trying to drive a car that's still warming up. It's simply not ready. For older adults, this rush of activity can be especially harmful, as it puts incredible pressure on the heart. Suddenly pushing the body into overdrive can cause an alarming spike in blood pressure, which could lead to severe consequences such as a heart attack or fainting. The stress on the cardiovascular system can be downright dangerous. Additionally, during the night while we sleep, our body temperature drops and muscles naturally become less flexible. So when we go from a completely relaxed state to suddenly pushing our muscles and joints hard, we expose ourselves to an increased risk of injury. Without proper warming up, muscles and tendons aren't prepared to handle the strain, making them more susceptible to sprains or tears. Our joints, too, aren't lubricated enough for the pressure, and this sudden shock to the system can leave us with lasting damage. But let's think about this. Why rush straight into a grueling workout that puts so much strain on your body? Why not take a moment to respect your body's natural rhythm? The solution is simple and so effective. Instead of diving into high-intensity exercises first thing in the morning, start with a gentle warm-up that allows your body to gradually transition from rest to activity. This doesn't have to be anything intense. Gentle stretching, slow walking, or some light yoga poses can do wonders. These small mindful movements help increase blood flow, lubricate the joints, and prepare your muscles for more strenuous activity. By taking just 10 to 15 minutes for this essential warm-up, you're setting yourself up for success. Your body will feel lighter and more flexible, and your heart rate will rise at a safe, controlled pace. Most importantly, your mind will be in a calm, centered state, ready to take on more intense exercises if that's your choice. A proper warm-up is truly a game changer. It doesn't just prevent injuries, it enhances the overall effectiveness of your workout. When you approach your exercise routine with patience and wisdom rather than rushing to get it over with, your body will thank you. Exercise isn't about overexertion or pushing yourself to the brink. It's about listening to your body, respecting its limits, and gradually building strength in a balanced way. By incorporating a gentle warm-up into your morning routine, you'll not only avoid unnecessary strain, but you'll also set yourself up for a more enjoyable, sustainable fitness journey in the long run. The key to maintaining your health and vitality is to exercise intelligently without putting your body in harm's way. Embrace the power of slow, thoughtful movements, and you'll be able to enjoy a long, healthy life with a sense of well-being that you truly deserve. The importance of small, healthy habits, pacing yourself and warming up gently before exercising, can truly make a world of difference to your overall health, and the impact may be far greater than you initially thought. These small, often overlooked habits are not just about getting your body ready for the challenges of the day. They are vital steps in ensuring that your health remains vibrant for years to come. These rituals can make you feel alive, energetic, and fully awake, like you've stepped into the day with renewed purpose. More importantly, they help safeguard your long-term health, giving you the foundation you need to live a rich, fulfilling life. While age is an inevitable part of the journey, we have more power than we realize to slow the effects of time by nurturing our bodies in the smallest yet most meaningful ways. Through simple stretches, mindful exercises, and taking moments to rest, we can maintain our health, uplift our spirits, and improve our quality of life. Think of these changes as a precious gift you give to yourself, a gift that not only enhances your resilience but also strengthens you in ways that go beyond the physical. You are investing in your well-being, your vitality, and ultimately your future happiness with every small step you take toward better care of your body. You are gifting yourself the chance to feel younger, healthier, and more at peace with the world. I truly wish for you all to experience the beauty of mornings that are filled with energy and the sense of peace that comes with a life well lived. I hope that you not only find health in your body but also joy in your soul, day after day. But let's not forget that as we grow older, the source of our encouragement may shift. When we are young, brimming with enthusiasm and vitality, family is often the backbone of our strength. Our parents, our loved ones, are there to offer support, advice, and love. However, as the years pass, we may start to see things in a different light. Our hair turns gray, our energy wanes, and the comforting thought of being surrounded by loved ones may no longer feel as certain. The love and respect from our children, which once seemed unconditional, can become more fragile and uncertain as the world around us changes. In today's society, where material values increasingly dominate, and where the rush of everyday life leaves little room for reflection, one begins to wonder, will our children still care for us when we grow old? Will they be there for us when our health falters, when we face financial struggles, or simply when we need a helping hand? Mr. Park's story, learning to live independently. On today's journey, we explore the poignant story of a father entering his later years who is confronted by the stark, painful realities of shifting family dynamics. His experience serves as a powerful reflection on our relationships with our children and the expectations we place on them. More importantly, it invites us to reflect on how we can better prepare for the future, ensuring that we are not left vulnerable or dependent on others when our time comes. It's a reminder that sometimes independence and financial security are not just luxuries. They are among the greatest comforts we can give ourselves as we grow older. The transformation of family relationships over time is something that many of us can relate to, even if we don't fully acknowledge it until much later in life. The old saying, "Children care for their parents less than 3 days a week," may have held some truth in the past, but in today's fast-paced world, it's taken on a new significance. The reality is that when old age arrives, family dynamics inevitably change. Mr. Park, a father who had dedicated his entire life to building a future for his children, was faced with a crushing realization. The very children he had worked so hard for, the ones he had sacrificed so much for, were no longer able or perhaps willing to be there for him in his time of need. After his wife passed away, Mr. Park found himself living alone, his once vibrant home now a quiet and empty space. He silently hoped for the visits of his children, for them to check in on him to show him the same care he had always shown them. But his hopes were dashed. Each of his 3 children, now absorbed in their own busy lives, seemed to have no time for him. His eldest son, struggling with a small house and tight finances, claimed he couldn't take his father in. The second son, living with his wife's family, found it inconvenient to bring his father into the fold. The youngest daughter, caught up in the demands of her work, bluntly stated that she simply didn't have enough time. At that moment, Mr. Park faced the undeniable truth that in life, expectations and reality often exist in separate worlds. He had hoped for the unconditional love and support of his children, but the harshness of modern life had left him standing alone. Instead of blaming his children for their perceived neglect, he found himself reflecting on how he could live his remaining years independently and on his terms. It was a heart-wrenching realization, but one that sparked a deep and necessary shift in his perspective. Sometimes the greatest act of self-respect and self-care is learning to rely on yourself, to prepare for a future where you are not dependent on anyone, even your flesh and blood. Mr. Park's story is not just one of personal loss, it is a universal lesson in resilience. It teaches us that while family will always be important, we must also be prepared to face the future with strength and independence. In the end, when we are old and frail, it is the preparation we make for ourselves today, emotionally, financially, and practically, that will truly determine the quality of our lives tomorrow. Mr. Park had spent much of his life devoted to his family, his children, and his responsibilities. Yet after years of struggling with an unspoken sense of loneliness, he came to a heartbreaking realization. He could no longer wait for help that might never come. Life had not turned out as he had expected, and in the quiet moments of reflection, he understood that true wisdom lies not in waiting for others to change, but in accepting life as it is and finding one's path forward. He didn't blame his children, nor did he hold any bitterness. After all, each person has their battles to fight and their dreams to chase. But deep down, Mr. Park knew that his life was his own too, and if he wanted peace, he had to take control of his destiny. The decision to leave his home, the place where his children grew up, where memories of happier times were etched into every corner, was not one he took lightly. The house, which once held warmth, now felt like a weight on his shoulders, a constant reminder of what was lost. It had become a place of solitude, a place where silence echoed louder than the laughter of his family. When he told his children, their reaction was predictable, but still painful. They didn't understand. How could they? This house was the foundation of their childhood, their shared history. They begged him not to sell it, to hold on to it, but Mr. Park's mind was made up. He didn't expect them to understand. They had their own lives, their own families, and in their eyes, the house was more important than the life he still had left to live. He accepted their opposition with a quiet resolve, understanding that his decision wasn't about them. It was about him, about his right to find peace on his terms. With the proceeds from the sale of the house, Mr. Park moved to a nursing home. Some might see this as a sign of surrender, but to him it was a choice for freedom, for dignity. In Seoul, that new place, he would not have to rely on his children or anyone. There he could live as he wanted, without the heavy burden of expectation. The moment he stepped into the nursing home, a profound sense of relief washed over him. Gone were the days of waiting for visits that never came, of yearning for attention that seemed so distant. In the company of new friends, people who understood the rhythms of old age, Mr. Park began to feel a joy he hadn't experienced in years. The loneliness, once overwhelming, started to fade. In that quiet sanctuary, he found that true peace comes not from the company of others but from the freedom to be yourself, unburdened by the demands of life. His peace, at last, was his own. As time passed, his children began to feel a twinge of guilt. They realized that in his search for peace they had let him down. They had rarely spent time with him, and now, with him living away from them, they felt the weight of their neglect. They began visiting him more frequently, once a week. But despite their newfound efforts, Mr. Park saw through their intentions. They came out of duty, not love, and he knew it. It didn't bother him as much as it might have in the past. He had learned through his journey that happiness does not come from relying on the approval or affection of others. It comes from within. The visits, however well-meaning, could not fill the emptiness that had once consumed him. Instead, Mr. Park chose to focus on the small joys of his daily life in the nursing home. He savored the laughter of new friends, the quiet moments of reflection, and the newfound freedom to live life on his terms. He realized that the greatest gift he could give himself in old age was not the presence of others, but the ability to be content with who he was and what he had. His story is one of profound wisdom, a lesson about independence, self-reliance, and the courage to accept that, in the end, our peace is our responsibility. Mr. Park no longer carried the weight of his children's expectations, nor did he worry about whether they loved him enough. His love for himself and his ability to live without depending on anyone gave him a peace he had never known. The realization that happiness doesn't come from what others do for us, but from how we choose to live our own lives, was a truth he had come to understand deeply. His children, though they loved him, had their paths to follow. Mr. Park learned not to resent this but to embrace it. He chose to care for himself, to cherish his independence, and in doing so, he found peace, not in the house he had sold, nor in the visits from his children, but in the quiet acceptance of his journey. Mr. Park's story is a testament to the power of letting go of old expectations, of the past, and even of the idea that happiness can only come through others. He found peace in letting go of his dependency on others and in choosing to live for himself. It's a powerful reminder that as we age, the most important thing we can hold on to is our independence and the ability to create a life that brings us peace no matter what anyone else thinks. Mrs. Lee's story, a painful lesson. The story of Mrs. Lee is a poignant reminder of the painful realities that many elderly individuals, particularly mothers, face. It is not just the tale of Mr. Park, but a reflection of the heartbreaking journeys of others like Mrs. Lee, individuals who, after a lifetime of love and sacrifice, find themselves overlooked and abandoned by the very ones they devoted themselves to. Mrs. Lee's story touches the soul, shedding light on the deep and often unspoken struggles that unfold in the later years of life. Mrs. Lee, a woman who poured her heart and soul into raising her children, worked tirelessly for years, never once thinking of herself. She believed, like many of us do, that her sacrifices would one day be repaid when she grew old, perhaps not with riches but with love, respect, and the comfort of family. Together with her husband, she built a home, brick by brick, with sweat and tears accompanying every step of the way. She nurtured her children, ensuring they had everything they needed to build their futures. When they grew up and became independent, Mrs. Lee was filled with joy, knowing her sacrifices had helped them stand strong. But life, in all its unpredictable twists, doesn't always unfold as we hope. After her husband's death, Mrs. Lee found herself alone in the large house that once echoed with laughter and life. The emptiness of it all was suffocating. Then came the day when her son, now married with children of his own, suggested they move to a larger, more modern home. He convinced her to sell the house she had built with her husband's blood, sweat, and dreams, promising that the money would secure a better future for the family. With hope and love, Mrs. Lee sold the house, handing over all the proceeds to her son, believing that she was making the ultimate sacrifice for their happiness. She wanted nothing more than for her grandchildren to grow up in a beautiful home, safe and secure. But as time passed, her dreams of living peacefully with her son and his family began to crumble. Mrs. Lee quickly realized that she was not truly valued in the very house she had helped create. The money from selling the house instead of improving their lives only led to more debt. She began contributing her small pension to help pay off the family's financial burdens month after month until she had nothing left for herself. As her health deteriorated, she could no longer care for her grandchildren as she once did. She was exhausted, physically and emotionally. When she finally told her son she could no longer continue sacrificing for them, his response shattered her heart. Instead of understanding, he blamed her for not doing more. The pain of realizing that her sacrifices had been in vain was unbearable. Her love, her life's work, had meant nothing to him. The bitterness of betrayal hit Mrs. Lee like a tidal wave. Her own son, whom she had given everything for, had no empathy for her suffering. And when she turned to her daughter for support, she was met with anger and resentment. Her daughter scolded her for having favored her son, leaving nothing for her. Mrs. Lee, who had once poured all her hope and dreams into her children, was left with nothing but the cold sting of regret and the crushing weight of loneliness. She was forced to rent a small room, living in isolation, surrounded by the shadows of what could have been. Her heart ached with the sorrow of realizing that the sacrifices she had made were not only unappreciated, but it also cost her the very essence of her dignity. From Mrs. Lee's heartbreaking story, we learn a painful truth. Unconditional sacrifice does not guarantee love or respect in return. It is a cruel irony that despite how deeply we love our children, we must always remember to keep a part of ourselves, our needs, our dreams, and our future, so that we can care for ourselves in our old age. Sacrifices that go unappreciated are not only futile but also lead to emotional devastation and regret. Learning from their stories. As we grow older, many of us hold on to the hope that our children will care for us as we once cared for them. But as the stories of Mr. Park and Mrs. Lee show, family ties can fray with time, and the expectations we have can be ruthlessly shattered by reality. The greatest lesson here is that we must not depend entirely on others, no matter how much we love them or how much they love us. Life teaches us that we must be prepared to stand on our own feet, financially and emotionally. The most loving thing we can do for our children is to prepare ourselves for old age with financial independence and security, so that we are not a burden, but a source of strength. Only then can we live with dignity, peace, and freedom, knowing that we are not relying on others to carry our weight. This, I believe, is the most profound gift we can give ourselves and our loved ones. Thank you for reading this story and spending your time with us today. What have you learned from Mrs. Lee's story and the lessons shared? Please share your thoughts. Tell us one thing you've learned and plan to bring into practice in your own life. We'd love to hear from you and learn together as a community. If you enjoyed this story, please leave your comment below and don't forget to share it with others. By doing so, you'll help us reach more people with these important messages and wisdom about aging, independence, and preparing for a fulfilling life in our later years. Together, let's inspire each other to live with dignity, strength, and wisdom.